Chapter 85, The Nuke Cusser. Michael just gazed at it, trying to make sense of what he was seeing before his eyes. Wondering what type of sick fuck would bring this here. Wondering what type of sick fuck would then want to use it. You gotta be fucking shitting me. This ain't no regular bomb. The fucker's nuclear. Michael now felt like his failure was complete. And not only that, he felt like he couldn't masquerade his persona anymore. He couldn't be John Wayne anymore. This was a reality which his fantasy stood no match against. He couldn't save himself. He couldn't save Nicky, and he had to be a damn fool to think he could do all that in his old rompous, pompous style. You've gotta be fucking shitting me. This thing is nuclear. Now Michael felt like something snapped inside of him, something he could never again reclaim after seeing this. Michael felt like he just wanted to crawl away into himself and die. Let his mind just shut off and not have to be conscious with the shit he was seeing here. You know, if I hadn't left my apartment earlier this night, I could have been asleep by now. And that would have been a nice way to go without knowing any of this shit was about to happen. But then Michael rolled his eyes as he remembered how he hadn't been able to get a wink of sleep the last 3 weeks straight. So tonight, he probably would have also been wide awake at this hour, cursing the moment when he'd see the next morning sun. Of course, with this thing, there would have been no morning. Michael continued gazing at the atomic weapon as he felt now its eyes gazing back, its entity, seeing into Michael's and wanting to merge with, and then show Michael the abyss of its horrors. Flash, light, heat, and all is now broken down into energy. All form is lost and gone, blasted into an oblivion, and Michael was now that in spirit. As he began to remember back when he was a child, how terrified he felt when his father had told him about the Cold War, about the nuclear Armageddon, and what it meant if and when it was to happen. End of the world, he said. Nothing would survive. He had told me. A desert wasteland was all that would remain of this world, littered with the skeletons and rubble of the men that devised such horrors. A glass desert, nothing but one giant mirror reflecting the heavens above, for there is nothing left to be seen of the earth below. Beginning with one small spark of light, it would grow in magnitude, expanding maybe 1,000,000 miles per second, burning at 1,000,000 degrees and killing millions in its wake. The real world had horrors like these, and what the fuck was a 2-bit hood ex-boxer idiot like Michael Madboy Connelly going to do? Fuck it. I failed. There's nothing I can do now. Game over. Michael felt done wanting to be a hero. This was a madness he wanted nothing to do with. A fucking hell. He would rather live in his own mind than deal with realities like these. How could he even accept them? How could he control them? Grab this charging bull by the horns and steer the enraged animal into the ground. Sad boy, you were right. We should have both gotten the fuck out of Dodge. Fuck this city. If anything, this age of rage has proven it. This city is too far gone to be saved. If this is all it's come down to, if this is what's right just now, I don't know. Something truly important now snapped inside of him and fell away. But what? Thought Michael. And then saw that Billy the Kid's eyes fading away from him. And now Michael felt faded, as if he no longer knew who he was anymore. And now in its place, there was this thing here, the new chosen form of the Destructor, of Michael's Reaper, of his demise, his end. I feel tired, thought Michael as the unflinching, unnerving, unrelenting gaze of this sense of hell began to take hold, and Michael was now feeling pretty fucking tired. I need some sleep. 3 fucking weeks without any how have I managed? Michael now felt like sitting, and so he did. Sat right down next to Mr. End of Days here and started entertaining that sense of freedom he had felt before of total abandonment. And how good it felt. I've done all I can do. I can't go on anymore. I can't. And after a while of feeling somewhat at peace, Michael now closed his eyes and wondered, oh, maybe I can't sleep now, maybe. Oh God, I really would love that now, I would. And so Michael laid there, feeling that sense of peace and feeling joyous that he might be able to finally fall asleep. But what the fuck now? He wasn't. But why? But then he realized this bomb wasn't going to just take out the 1999 building and kill all those hundreds of rich assholes, people he really didn't give two shits about, on that magic floor. This bomb was going to devastate all of New York City entire and kill at least 6 million, and including Nikki. Ah, shit. And including that kid. Wait, why am I caring about that stupid little twerp now? And his new Shamrocks. Oh, fuck me. We all have to go sometime. We all do. And I feel like it's my time now. There's nothing I can do. I've lost. Your time, maybe, but what about their time? What about theirs, Gabe? There's nothing I can do. What about LaToya's? LaToya's, she's dead. She died when those mercs had raided the Milk Jug Hotel. Are you completely convinced it was her? Yes. Are you? Yes. Are you sure? No. Michael then decided none of it should matter anymore, and then tried to close his eyes and sleep again. A minute passed. And in that tired minute, it wasn't the bomb's eyes that were staring back at Michael. It was Nikki's. I don't want her to die. In those eyes, he still could see his rosary. Oh, enough of this. There's nothing I can do. But then Michael no longer saw his own demise from this thing here. He could now see Nikki's, and but what can shit, I don't want her to die. And whatever that it was that Michael felt like he had lost back there, whatever that he felt snap off and fall from him into nothing, was found again. And now Michael felt centered again, and so Michael got up, stared at the bomb, and got confrontational in the way that made sense to him. You know, she was the only person that ever saw me in moments like these. I mean, saw right into me. Whenever I was really feeling down on my luck. Whenever I was really, really feeling lost and afraid. Whenever I'd feel completely and utterly defeated. She was always the one that would notice, and that there's precious. People can be so blind seeing the simple truth that they see in themselves, yet are blind to see in others. Sometimes they think it's because other people are way too different from themselves to relate to, and feel lost in translation. Other times it's because they just don't care, as they don't care for themselves. Every time I've ever felt any true heartache, if she was there, she was always the first one to notice and flinch. Hell, sometimes while I wasn't even, but yeah. We had that connection, we did. I could have been in a room full of a dozen or so people I'd known all my life. Whenever I felt this way, she would always be the only one to sense it. She'd become very keen to my presence and picking up all those small, minute, telltale signs into my character. And now Michael thought of the one thing that really made Nikki matter to him, more than any other woman could ever do so. When that thing happened with my father, when I almost lost him, I went to the tropic that night to drown myself in sorrows. And out of all the people that crossed me that night, she was the only one that flinched and took notice. I saw Gabe that day, and as much as that jackass thinks he knows me, inside and out, he also didn't notice. Michael then closed his eyes and remembered that moment. And the endearing part for me was how'd she react whenever she'd notice. She'd always come over, sit next to me, and become completely awkward around me. And I don't know why, but I always loved that in a bittersweet way. How awkward she'd get around me, being unable to go past her inhibitions, yet trying so hard to do so. She'd become so frustrated and confused, staring me up and down as her eyes would start to pulsate. She'd fidget around with her attention every which direction. And why? Because she didn't know how to open up to me. Not on that level. She tried so hard to open up, at least ask me what was wrong, but in the end, the only thing she would think of doing was taking me home and blowing me for the entire night straight. Michael then laughed, enjoying that moment, but then looked up and noticed that the bomb was still glaring at him. Michael then tried to shake it off. I don't know. I know this stuff has to be beyond just that physical shit. I mean, I know a stupid fucking blowjob doesn't equal love. And neither does swallowing. Oh, shut the fuck up, Gabe. Michael was now stirring with piss and vinegar. No thanks to you bringing that shit up. I don't know. I believe we had a real thing, I do. Her being that close to me, I don't think it was just in my imagination that she was that way. That being the sign that she really loved me. Her being so awkward towards me most of the time. I mean, I know anyone that's anyone would want more than that. To talk about love, there needs to be a higher plane reached with the couple. If it's true, a higher connection reached, made, bound. But the fact was, between Michael and Nikki, even though he believed it could be, it never had, at least back then. Blowing me the entire night straight, huh? But unfortunately, really, really good sex isn't what's going to measure up to it being true. Then the thought of him being completely wrong about him and her together crossed his mind. That thought began to scare him again. No, I believe we really were that way together. It wasn't just in my mind. I know I felt like I loved her. I know I did. Something platonic, something more. All the sex I've got in my life, but just one true relationship, just one, would be worth so much more. But the question was, did she feel that way too? No, there's certain things you just know. Like, about that whole Angie matter that Slater brought up, about me impregnating his sister. You know why I'm not thinking about that shit there? Because there's certain things you just know. And I know me and how always pulled out and making sure I'd never get a girl pregnant. That I didn't want to do so. There's certain things you just know. But was Nikki one of them? Well, if not her, then who? Michael now began to think about all the other women he had been with in his life. Unlike women like that Texas girl, or that French florist, or the Polish girl, girls whose names and faces Michael did remember. All his other old touches. And so, what about them? Annabelle didn't care, really. She was too naive to care, or understand how something like love works. LaToya, she just wanted me around to protect her most of the time, since she didn't know how to do it herself. She did care about me, but not that deeply. Oh no, I hope that wasn't... Michael shook his head, breaking away from his thoughts, and, having thought about death, Michael looked up, noticed the bomb was still unflinchingly, unnervingly, and unrelentingly glaring right at him. Michael then shook it off again and continued thinking about all the other women he'd been with. Then there's Cecilia. She didn't care either. She lived in a world where she was the only one with problems, had reason to complain. As for Roxana, I never heard from her after she left for Rochester. Not even a peep. And with Nikki, the problem was, I told her 1,000,000 times that I loved her back then. Back when we were together. 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 fucking yet. She never said it to me once. I don't know. I guess I really do want to believe we had something profound together. But why did you cheat on her as much as you did? I don't know. Thought Michael as he got depressed, then glared up at the nuclear bomb again. As the bomb continued to glare back, Michael's face then cringed up with teeth. Fuck you. Go away. How the fuck did I... Is this thing for real? A nuke? How the fuck did I get into all this mess? But then another thought tried to intervene, that stupid, ignoramus thought of how this was all her fault, which he'd been spinning in his head all night long. Fuck. I do hate that. As it began to turn again, he realized she wasn't just going to be responsible for killing hundreds of people, she was now going to be responsible... Oh, shut the fuck up! Thought Michael as he smacked himself across the face and felt sick of entertaining that notion another sec. I don't give a shit. She's all that matters to me now, and I don't even care if she's nothing but that lady again, because now I want to love that too. I feel that way. It has to be unconditional. And now Michael felt that thing in his mitts again. No, don't you two start either. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what she does. It has to be unconditional. It has to be. That's the only way anything can ever be saved, really. The second you're willing to set up limits of what you're willing to love, it's the second you fail. That's the way it is, and the only way it can be. I don't care what she's done, who she is, and what will happen next. I love her, and that's all that matters. But as Miss continued to talk to him, as Michael realized this was a new thing he could now expect from himself, dealing with when it came to her. Oh shit. You were right though, Roxy. This shit is hard. Michael remembered way back when, how he had been bullshitting Roxy to get her to have sex with him. Talking about love and war and peace, and stuff he had no clue about, or did he? Maybe I was onto something though. Can't be a wimp. You have to tough it up. You have to tough it out. You have to be a soldier. That's what I was thinking back then. Because if you really want to be in love, you're going to have to get yourself ready to deal with the pain and hardship that comes with it. That, or spend the rest of your life wondering how it could have been. And like Roxy, beginning to believe there isn't any such thing as love. You have to be tough enough to deal with that hardship. Even the hardship realizing that it might have been all in vain. And now the myth ceased. And them ceasing started to give Michael the confirmation that he was on the right path, the righteous path. I love her. And that's all that matters. Also, I know that Nikki can never stop existing there, just as I can't stop existing in myself with Madboy around, thought Michael as he looked at his mitts again and started accepting it. I was with her for years, and for all that time I felt she loved me as much as I loved her. Even though our relationship never blossomed into what we really wanted, the Nikki I loved is there, it exists, and it's not just in my head. I mean, what the fuck? Good Nikki, the lady, me, Madboy, enough with this stupid Jekyll and Hyde bullshit. I'm Madboy, and I'm proud of it. But what if she did leave you after all this? What if Nikki never did love you? Even from the beginning. Give me a second. Michael pondered that for a second, then smiled and felt like he didn't care anymore. Takes two to tango to be in love? I don't think so anymore. What I have over her can never be taken away. Not even Nikki herself can take it away. And even if she tried with all her might to do so, if all of a sudden one day she stood against it all, it wouldn't matter, because that's what being unconditional means. So, you'd love the lady? Yes, I would, Gabe. Yes, I would. So in your face, you jackass, for telling her all those things about me and her to try and get us to split up. Michael then had a moment as he thought about her just as a lady. I don't care if that's all she is. If she completely turns evil or has been so from the start and has just been using me up until now, I don't care. Even after all this, for me helping her out, if she was to rip my heart out and step on it and laugh in my face for being so pitiful, then abandons me, was to go off and blow 50,000 dudes and just to spite me, then laugh again and now forget about me completely, doing it all in style just to rub it in, just that. Even if all that shit was to happen, I would still love her. Nothing will ever change that. That's what unconditional means. And that there is how you really save anything. Michael then smiled, glared at the Nuke again, as the Nuke glared back, then flipped. Yeah, well, fuck you too, go to hell, fuck you, and the horse you rode in on too, and... Then Michael paused and found a reason to smile again. Michael then busted out into laughter over the scene he saw himself making there. The scene of himself, some wild-eyed, sweaty, rompous, pompous 80s punk, dressed like some stupid MTV music video extra, pacing up and down, cussing out a nuclear bomb, like it was going to make a difference. Cussing out a nuclear bomb, so fucking stupid. And what did I scream out also? The horse you rode in on too? What the fuck? Michael couldn't help it. There was practically nothing else he could do right now, and this was the only thing he could derive from this moment to make himself feel better, and make himself feel like moving on. Maybe I should find a mallet around here and start banging on the damn thing while cussing it out some more, like they do in those Looney Tunes cartoons. So fucking stupid. "Fuck you!" shouted out Michael again as he fell into a fits of laughter, and he felt like his diaphragm was going to cave in on itself. That's all I need right now. It's funny. Well, not really, but fucking. And now, whatever that had snapped from him and fallen off before, Michael felt like could never again. Yeah, that was funny. And you know what? That's all I'm going to take from all this. I don't want to think about what this thing is capable of. Cussing out a nuclear bomb. That's all that matters. Michael had always been a man of simple action, and having been forced into this state of thought all night long had just made him unhappy and needing to get out of it. And quick. He had his laugh to escape the thoughts rushing in his head, in his mind. But now he needed to do something else. Being his old self meant keeping it simple, keeping to mind only what mattered, and all that mattered tonight for him was not to be feeling abandoned again. All alone at that place, waiting for something to, okay, enough of that. Truth also was, Michael really wasn't all that alone anymore, really. That was just the bullshit he was still feeding himself, because that's all he knew how to do. Yeah, fuck being a loner. Really, I did that too, to myself, because I guess I also enjoyed the idea on some level. That bittersweet sense you get when you're all alone in the world, and you build your pride up thinking about your hard knocks life, having a real story to tell, making your life out to be some stupid tragedy, derive a sense of worth in everything you've been through. From playing yourself as a victim, wronged by the world, now wanting revenge, being that way, feeling that way, so self-righteously, but really all in vain. And now Michael felt done with his story. Done with the violins. Done. Fuck me and having to be the last bloody Shamrock. Fuck being that abandoned one, always up to beating people's faces in and womanizing to make himself feel worth a damn. And fuck my life story too. No more of this lone wolf shit, no more. Nicky was still there. Sadboy was in Baltimore. And as for LaToya, I don't know. Alright. All that mattered now was he needed to go find Nikki again and get her out of the city. And that was that. What about that kid? Michael thought then, but then realized he really had just imagined him too. I did just hallucinate him, didn't I? Or what? Maybe he was something more than just that. More than just a hallucination? Yes, Michael. Then what? And then it came to him. And now he knew.